Welcome! Now this pot that I made a couple of days ago using sectional throwing is ready for trimming. And as you may remember, I did it in this clay with a log rock intended for ragu, but I'm going to use it in Pitfire. So trimming that is a little more difficult than a pot that have no grog or very little grog or only very fine grog. Because when you cut into this, the grog may stand out more. So in the end, we also need to burnish it a little bit, so push the grog into the pot. So let's get on with it. First step is to sort of measure how much thickness in the wall that I have. I'm just going to stop it here. And up here, it's actually not too bad. I like this very thick head here, the rim up here. So I want to keep that, maybe round it off a little bit. It's a little more thickness here, so we may want to go a little bit deeper here. But the sides are actually not too bad. Down here, we do have a little bit too much, but that was intended. I wanted to go in and be a little more narrow. But I'm usually going to start out at the top, because if I start down here, then it will become more weak, and I want to keep it as solid as I can for as long as possible. So we're going to start up here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but now the stones, the grog, are kind of sticking out a little more. Well, we'll fix that in the end. As you see, even though it's got a long handle, I'm not holding it like that. I'm holding it as close to the actual loop tool here as possible, so it doesn't jump around for me. In this case, I'm gonna let it be a little thicker, the last part, to sort of make a, I don't know what you call it, but an indentation. So it's gonna stand out a little bit. I think you can start to see it now, and I like that. And this is one of the reasons I'm making it bigger than what I need. It's also because my skills are not good enough to throw this kind of clay very thin. But when it's thick like this, it gives you the option to carve in and change things very dramatically afterwards. And now and then I'm going to feel the thickness here, because I don't want to go through it, but there's still a little bit to go. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, and also see how around this also, the whole rounding here becomes more even than what my limited drawing skills allowed me to do. I think this is beginning to look good. Yeah, that looks good. Now I want to just fine tune this inner side. And let me just see here. Maybe this round tool, yeah, I think that's going to work. It's actually a little bit too big, so I need something. I think this one is going to work better. It's not so big. Yeah, so I think the shape now is good up here. We got a little deeper in here, so it just accentuates, emphasize it a bit more, and I like that. So now I'm going to move further down the side and go back to this bigger tool. My goal here is just to make the curve more even. It wasn't too bad just by throwing it, but I just want to perfect it. Even though it was very straight when I was throwing it, just the drying have made it a little more uneven. Not that much, but still I can make it better now with the trimming. So I'm just gonna make sure that the thickness and the curve of the side is exactly the way that I want it. And I think it looks good. There's a little too much here. So now that we made the whole top of it, I'm ready to go and carve into the foot. So here we need to take out quite a lot. And I'm using my hand and holding it on the top of the pot so it doesn't fall over. I'm going to leave a little bit down here because I want to make it sort of a foot that goes out a little bit. So I'm just going to leave that for now and always take it off if I don't like it. I keep going up a little bit because I don't want the curve to just start here suddenly and go in. I want it to be a continuous curve down the side of the wall. So, beginning to look okay. Now I just want to feel inside to see, yeah, now it's actually almost the same thickness as the rest of the inside wall. So I don't want to take too much more. Now to round off this piece down here, you can do it, of course, with a trim tool, but there are also tools that are made specifically for that. And these are some tools that I got from a German supplier, and he makes wonderful tools. So I want to try that one. I got different sizes and different shapes. And let me see, I think maybe this one would be good. Let's try with it. So, you see? So now we got this little bit of a round ending on the foot. Now I just need to cut out a little more down here. So now it looks like it's standing on this little donut or something. And I think it works well for this sort of vase. Now, as we talked about before, when you're dealing with, especially when you're dealing with larger pots, you sometimes have to move away from your wheel because you're getting too close for seeing the whole shape of the pot. So let's try and move out and see if it looks okay. Yeah, I think it looks really good. I think the shape goes in now in the sort of the angle I was looking for. Maybe the foot is a little bit too big, but I can trim that when we turn it around. But I think it looks good for now. So now it's time to cut it off. As you may have noticed, I didn't cut it off after throwing, which is, I think, normal for most potters. But I don't do it because I want to be able to trim it upside down, upside up. And if I cut it off, then it will become too loose. And I like to, keep it steady on the bed. And it's still wet enough for me to cut it off. So let's do that. And as always, hold your fingers so you press it down to the bed. You don't want to cut up into it. And just do it very slowly. Don't rush this. If you rush this, it may fly off your bed. So, here we go. And now it feels, well, not light, but not heavy at all. So I'm just going to put this aside. So I remove the bed and my bed mate and everything. And I'm just gonna clean the surface of the wheel head. So, and now we're going to do something that a lot of potters would say is too dangerous and you shouldn't do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to turn this around. Now there was some scraps inside because I was just adjusting something there. We put it like that. And now we just need to center it. And some potters use tap centering. I'm not very good with tap centering, and especially with a big one like that, I wouldn't do that. So I'm just using my finger to see if it's centered. And we need to push it a little bit. Yeah, that's good. And for a big pot like that, I may not even need any clay here to support it. Sometimes you would put some lumps of clay to support it, and it's probably the best thing to do. But in this case, I think it's going to be okay. So I'm just going to go very light on my trimming here. Oops, I need to support it. It's jumping, and we don't want that. So let's send that again. The clay that you use to secure your pot should be the same type as the one that you are throwing in, or at least the same color. You don't want to use a black clay on white pot or something like that. So I'm just using the same. And for this one, because it's so big, I'm making rather big lumps. But when you put them here, make sure that you press it into the bed, not into the pot. If you do that, you may break the rim. So I'm just going to shape it here and then push it into the bed. Because after all, it's the sticking to the bed that's important. So it doesn't move here. And then I usually just put 3 pieces because then it won't be able to go in any direction. So that way. Now it should be a little more secure. So now I'm ready to even the bottom first. So the first thing I do here is to even this part because this is going to be my foot. So that needs to be flat. The inside here, I'm going to carve out anyway. So that's not so important. But this part I want to keep flat. So like that. And I don't want my foot rim to be too small because it is a heavy pot. So I needed to have enough strength to carry the weight of the pot. So something like that. So now the first part I do is to mark how wide I want it. And remember, some of it is just hanging out here. And then I need maybe a centimeter more or something on the inside. So I'm going to make it here. You can always make it smaller. But once you started to cutting in, you can't really make it any bigger. Now the question always is, how deep can you go? Well, that's a question of experience, but you can tell it. The higher the pitch, the thicker it is. Deeper the pitch, the thinner it becomes. So this is very high pitch, and I think it's probably around 1 centimeter. That's what I aimed for when I was throwing it, so let's hope that's it. Now start out by carving, we just take this one, just a groove across, and then I'm gonna fill that out later. So like that, I'm using the corner of my trimming tool. So I'm not moving all of it, just like these circles, and then I can even that out because that's gonna create less of a drag on the pot and it doesn't move so much around. So that's a good way to do it. Then I usually shift to the round end of my trim tool. Now I can cut deeper into it. But be very careful here. Hold, support it, because what happens a lot of times is that you go around and then suddenly, oh, it hooks into the clay. And then you get a very deep part. Of course, we don't want that. So go very slow, carve your way. So there's still quite a lot of clay, so we can take some more. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know if you can hear it, but now it's deeper. So now I don't want to carve any deeper into this. Now I just want to smoothen it a little bit. So something like that. I just want to round the corners here. You never want to have, or at least it's not a good strategy to have very sharp corners because they tend to chip off. So I always round them off just a little bit. And then I want to make sure that this part is completely flat because this is where it's going to stand. And as I said, I think this rounding was maybe a little bit too big, so I'm just going to take off a little bit of that. So now we got the shape, we got the foot, we got the carvings, everything's right, except for one thing. As I mentioned, the grog is now sticking out. And if it was for glazing, that would be fine, because I would add glaze and it will be very smooth on top of that. But for Pitfire, I want a very smooth surface. So I'm going to do a little bit of burnishing. And for that, I'm going to start out with this metal whip. I'm going to start with the button here. And as I press it down here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually getting much smoother. So what is happening here is that I'm pushing in the grog into the clay, so it becomes a very flat and smooth surface. You can also use your finger, but it can hurt a little bit if you do it in the beginning. But after you push in the major part of the grog, then you can also use your finger. You can also use a soft whip like this to just smoothen it even more. And that way, even though this clay contains so much grog, it now looks like it doesn't. It looks very smooth and nice. And this is just the first part, because when it's bone dried, I'm going to add terra, and that will make it completely smooth and shiny. So now I'll just go through the rest of the pot the same way. can almost hear the stones are getting pushed in. Now it's getting smoother and smoother. So I don't know if you can see the difference, but here it's very smooth and here it's very coarse. So I'm gonna go through the whole pot. Yeah, just gonna use this soft rip a little bit. Yeah, that looks good now. So before turning it around, I'm just gonna add my maker's mark. I have different marks, and for most of my pots, it's just a very tiny mark that I put inside the foot or on the foot, because with the glaze, it often covers it. But of course, this one's not gonna have glaze. I'm gonna use this mark instead. It's made in wood, so it needs to be just wetted a little bit, otherwise it will stick to the clay. And then of course, have to remember to put it the right way. And let me see, just like that. It's gonna be good. So, I don't know if you can see it, but now I have it there. So now I need to burnish the top part of it. And for that, of course, I need to turn it around. Let's do that. And of course, when you're handling unfired clay like this, you have to be very, very careful. And also make sure that it's clean. Now I just need to burnish this. Oh, yeah, maybe I should have secured this as well. But it's just a little bit more, so. So here we go. And these inner parts here, they're always very difficult to burnish because the big missile rib I have here, of course, won't fit. But I have this tiny little one. It's very cute. And it works really good for this sort of thing. So I think it looks good now. So now I'm going to put it on a surface that will soak the water out of the foot. Because if I put it on a surface that is too hard or painted or something, then it will dry up here, but the foot won't dry. So it needs to be something. I'm going to use a plaster bed. So that's it. Now it's just going to dry, and until it's completely bone dry. And when it's bone dry, I will add the terra. And I already have some videos about that, and I can put a link to it, but maybe I will get back to you about this one. So that was it for now. The pot is ready. After the terra, I will bring it to this festival, this event where I'm going to teach Pitfire, as I mentioned. I'm not sure if I can fit it in there because there's a lot of students that want their things in there, but if I can fit it, I'll fire it there. Otherwise, I'll bring it back and fire it in my own Pitfire kiln, the oil drum that I'm using. Anyway, I will get back to you. I will show you the result. I expect this to go fine because it is this high grog clay that usually works really well with Pitfire. So you don't even need to wish me luck. I think it's going to work out great. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this short little trimming video, and see you soon again.